Don't you just love this game? Isn't this game great? The best part about this game is when I don't even have to play it. I just sit back, relax, listen to some tunes, and then every like 40 minutes, a sparkly one shows up. Pretty cool. Alright, so the game plan today, chat. We have just beat Morty and we have Surf, so we can head to CM Wood or we can head over to Mahogany. To be honest, I'm not sure which one's a better option because I'm pretty sure I can do the Team Rocket hideout now. I don't know if that's restricted to after the lighthouse, but I could also go to the lighthouse. I'm not sure. Because if I head to Mahogany, we'll probably end up doing a hunt there. But when we head to CM Wood, we have the Safari Zone area, which we can probably do a hunt there. So I'm just thinking, is it best to take on the Rockets, or is it best to take on gyms 5 and 6, plus Lighthouse, plus Safari Zone, right? Because if I go to Mahogany first, I am going to have to walk back, which isn't that far, because Mahogany's just over there. Maybe we'll stay with intended order. Because the wild Pokemon in Mount Mordor were like the same level as me, and that trainer I fought in there was like the same level as me. So we're gonna stay on the beaten path. But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get Lily W up to we're gonna get her up to level basically 25. And we're gonna check out her evolutions, and then we'll decide which one we want. And then when we do that, we have to box her so we can put we have to box her so we can put the, what do you call it? Chat, here's the whole soundtrack for this game. It's pretty good, actually. I really like this game. Okay. Alright. We have to box Lily because we need room for a Surfer. Now, we don't actually need to do that yet. We can actually do the Lighthouse first, which will naturally get us our EXP. However, Medicine and Lily both evolve at level 25, and I don't want them to evolve in a trainer fight because I have to cancel the level. I don't think they learn any moves, but I'd rather get them both to a position where they're like pretty much going to evolve, and then we can figure out what's going on with Medicine and Lily. And the reason why we're kind of keeping Medicine in this case is because Medicine is a grass type, and one of the areas I'm going to have to walk through, quote unquote, walk through, is a water route. Okay, alright. Well, that was super effective. We're not looking for a shiny right now, don't you worry. I mean, if we find one, which we won't. Oh, chat, you know what we should do? Just for shits and giggles, we should go do another bug catching contest, because today's Thursday. We can go do another 20-minute bug catching contest, see if we get anything. Maybe we win another Solar Shard. Why not? Could be fun. It's there. Ain't catching no fairies in there. Bagooby. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Okay. Alright, boys. So let's take a look. I'm gonna pause this for now. So let's take a look at Medicine. So Medicine is docile and somewhat vain. Her best stat is currently special defense, but she is defensive in general. Somewhat vain means that her best IV is special defense, and somewhat vain is also the only text description that can mean 31 IVs in special defense. Is that 31? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it is her highest stat, not counting HP, of course. But Medicine has, what, 3? She can go, like, attack, technical, and defense, I think. We can just open. Man, the Heartgold Soul Silver Pokedex is so convenient. Lily should be H and A, right? Yeah. Helper Lily and attack Lily. Attack Lily sucks though. There she is. She has AST. She has attack, speed, and technical. Okay. So, let's take a look at what the shiny forms look like. And then we'll go see what the standard evolution one looks like. And we'll figure out what to do from there. So she's green right now. AST. Not solar. So power, swift, and technical. So we'll just go in the order that they are. Okay. What does attack Bagooby look like? Well, honestly, the better question is, what do their stat spreads look like? Okay. She's still got green hair. She's got blue now on her dress. And she's got blue smoke. Okay, alright. That's not bad. Alright. And we got... Is it support or okay. Support must be... It must be H. Because it's helper. So S is swift. A little confusing, but nothing I'm not used to. This is speed medicine, which I don't know how medicine could be fast, but whatever. Alright, okay. So this medicine is wearing... She's got black hair. She's got gold dust. A gold dress and purple. Cool. Okay, alright, alright. Always forget what the speed button is. And then we have technical. Oh. Technical. Technical medicine. She's very blue. She's like... Reminds me of Xion, but the ribbon also reminds me of Sega. She also has black smoke. Or black poison. That's pretty cool. Alright. Now we just need to go peep the evolution one. Alright. Come on. Alright, and this is standard medicine. She's got red hair, a pink dress, and blue bottom. Let's turn to another Kotohime. She's got pink gas as well. I gotcha. Okay. Alright. Now let's take a look at Lily. Alright. We'll figure out what we're doing with that in a sec. So Lily has A and H. She's calm nature, so she's defensive, which is obvious. So we're obviously not doing attack, but helper or regular, I don't know. I'm not even sure if attack Lily is good. Like, I'm not even sure why there is an attack Lily. I think she can learn explosion. Alright, so here's attack Lily. She's got a tan. She's got brownish hair, kind of like Fantasy Maiden wears. Okay. And then we got support Char, which is helper Lily. Here's helper Lily. Can she explode? Though they can all explode. Oh shit! It's Lily Black! Okay. Okay, alright. You can go black or gold. And we have to check the, we gotta check the level at 1. So let's go check the level at 1. No. Yeah. And here's regular Lily. What? Bruh. She's pink, but she's blonde. So she barely looks any different. That's crazy. Alright, chat. So what do we want to do? What do we want to do? What are we thinking? I have a feeling we're going with Lily H here because Attack Lily is bad. Like, Attack Lily is unironically a bad puppet, and I have no attack in general. Regular Lily White barely changes. However, shiny helper Lily, it's just Lily Black. That's it. Okay. Bagooby. Bagooby. What about Bagooby? Because there's speed, which we are not. There's attack, which we are not. And there's technical and regular. So which one do you think is better for a defensive one? Probably technical, right? Because technical's like Shizuha, right? It'd be like Shizuha, where the technical one probably has access to shit like Leech Seed naturally. Or it could be the regular one. We kind of need to decide, though, because... Well, for now, let's head to the lighthouse and we'll head to that and get that going. But we need to decide what we're going with for that. Maybe I should make a poll. Maybe that's the easiest way to do this. /poll. Question. Lily... What? Response 1. A. H. Normal. There you go. Please vote. Please vote. You have control. You have control. You must vote. It is your civic duty. As an American citizen, you must vote. I probably shouldn't put medicine up front right now. I believe Parsi and Lyrica are closer, or yeah, Parsi and Lyrica I think are level 28. Guya's like 38, and then Goo is like 40. You must kill. Yes, you must kill. Free EXP. Oh, here it comes. Lily, the grand reveal. Lily. H. Okay. H Lily it is. That's all that matters to me. We're gonna get Lily not black. Lily not black. Okay. Oh. Now we need to do /poll. Medicine. A. S. T. Normal. Please vote. Alright, Lily. The people have spoken. You are becoming a helper. I don't know why I put you in the front. Support shard activate. Say goodbye to Lily. She's donned the black robe. This is the best Lily White. This might be the only Lily White. Alright. Well, let's look at her. She's got Spring Charm still, yeah. Her stats are... they didn't go up that much, to be honest with you. That's fine. Alright, what about medicine? What about medicine? Medicine is T. Alright, well at least you guys seem to actually care about, like, you know, optimal. Optimization. Alright. Bagooby. Take your technical shard. And then we're gonna head to the lighthouse. So Parsi and Lyrica should be level 28. She's blue! That one is pretty cool though. I'll give you that. Her colors change quite a bit when you evolve her, huh? I think that's actually really cool about the shinies, is that when the shinies evolve, their colors don't just stay to what the shiny one was when they were small. It gives a lot of opportunity for different colors. She has chlorophyll. Okay, this one seems like it's supposed to be quick, not necessarily defensive. Its defenses are basically the same when it was a Shibi right now, but now it has more special attack and speed. So, okay, all right. Still gonna use Leech Seed like a motherfucker, but like I don't think she's quite as effective at that as Shizuha was. All right, well, let's get the ball rolling, shall we? We're gonna lock in our. Shut up, Joey. We're gonna lock in. We're locking in. Oh, right, I forgot. We were gonna head to the bug catching contest. Stop calling me. We're gonna do a bug catching contest. You know what? Maybe we do the lighthouse first. We'll do the bug catching contest after some actual gameplay. That seems like a good idea. Alright, here we go. So, what I find interesting about the lighthouse is that it's a... Like, I'm pretty sure you have to do it before the game even lets you, like, get the secret potion in Cianwood. I think you have to go here first. But I also think that a lot of people just go here first anyway because it's a big building and it's like, ooh, that looks cool. And they go inside and it's like, ooh, it's like a dungeon. Because I know in this game, when you have to climb up the top, and then when you climb up the top, Jasmine tells you to get the secret medicine, and then she unlocks the elevator so you can just get it back up there after. But in the original game, there's nothing like that. You just have to climb. You gotta climb the whole fucking thing. And then you get up there, and then the game's like, hey, can you, like, leave and get something for me? But, like, I don't see how you'd be able to get your hands on the secret medicine until you actually, like, interacted with Jasmine. You're poison type, remember that. There are some areas in Pokemon that are, like, they're optional, quote-unquote. But they're in places that you see them and you're like, I gotta check that out. Like, Diglett's Cave is probably pretty close to that. Diglett's Cave is completely optional. But you could go in there and you can get a Diglett, which is a really good Pokemon to deal with Surge. But it also takes you back to get a Mr. Mime trade, as well as Flash, and a return to Pewter, because Mount Moon is like a one-way for some reason. I really don't know why they do that. So, you don't have to go in there, but it is a way you can, like, go back and get some stuff. It's pretty cool. But I was thinking more like in Gen 4, there's the Lost Tower. Oh. There's the Lost Tower in Gen 4, which in Diamond and Pearl, you have to go up there for defog, I believe. Yes. And it's also, like, really weirdly colored. Like, the Lost Tower is... It looks like... It's kind of, like, creepy in how it's just, like, a normal-looking garden. When you climb to the top, I believe you get defog up there. And in Platinum, they changed the atmosphere. Because the atmosphere in Platinum is, like... It's actually, like, a fucking ghost tower. But when you climb up there, you need defog in Platinum. And when you use defog up there, I'm pretty sure you just get a spell tag and a cleanse tag. I don't remember, but I know that it's not optional not optional in Diamond and Pearl, but you don't, at the same time, you don't need defog. Like, you don't need defog. Defog is something that is very handy to have because the fog condition in that game is fucking annoying, but it's not required. But you use defog in Platinum, because I think defog is moved into the Selosian Ruins, right? I think so. I'm pretty sure in Diamond and Pearl, the Selosian Ruins just have, like, I don't remember what they have actually, but in Platinum, defog is down there, and you go in there, and so in Platinum, it basically changes it so that in Platinum, if you want defog, you have to go to a different, completely optional area. However, what's nice about the Selosian Ruins is there's a what do you call it? What do you call it? There's a fire, water, and thunderstone hidden inside of it, so that's nice. But it's one of those areas that you don't really have to go to. It's completely optional. Oh, that did a lot. Okay, alright. You win. Bye. I'm leaving this fight. See ya. Glurp, leave. There's always, like, optional places to go, for sure. Like, the optional stuff is usually the most fun to kind of do, because you're not quite sure what it is. Like, in Gen 1, once you get Surf, like, there's not a lot of optional places in Gen 1 at the beginning. I already said Diglett's Cave. Like, Diglett's Cave is optional. But, like, you have to go through Mount Moon, you have to go out Nugget Bridge, you have to go through the underground paths, you gotta go through every route that's next to Saffron. The only route you don't have to go to is to the right of Vermilion. And by extension, you don't have to go south of Lavender to reach Fuchsia. But you do have to go either that route or cycling route. So one of those two routes you do have to go to. But otherwise, they're not necessarily optional. I think most people go through Cycling Road, though. I don't think a lot of people go through the bottom of Lavender. That's kind of a commitment and a half. But once you get Surf, like, the game is it's very straightforward. Once you gain access to Celadon, you gain access to Saffron, and now you can kind of go over that whole stretch of map. And then once you get Surf after going to Fuchsia, then you have access to the Seafoam Islands, where Articuno is. You have access to the power plant, where Zapdos is. And these are areas you don't have to go to. Alright, so now we're at our natural evolution level. Very good. Okay, I need to go back and heal, because I got fucked up by Astonish. Give me your phone number. I'm not coming back in here. Looks like you're a wimp. Why did I think I'm going to change my mind when they say shit like that? Anyway. So Gen 1 doesn't have a lot of optional areas in that regard. It does have Cerulean Cave, which is a pretty big, like, optional area. Because that area only opens up when you're done the game. But as far as areas go, because even in the original Gen 1, like, Moltres didn't have his own area. Moltres got thrown in Victory Road. And in Fire and Leaf Green, well, the Sevi Islands are actually kind of optional in their entirety. But even more than that, Mount Ember is optional, but that's remakes. In Johto, I'd argue that Johto maybe has too many things that are optional. Johto has Rock Tunnel, which you can't even really do anything in sorry, not Rock Tunnel, in Dark Cave. You can't even really do anything in Dark Cave until you get all the way up to Blackthorn. However, the route that you use to enter Dark Cave on the proper sides is also a route you don't have... This guy's a bird keeper. It's a route you don't have to engage with, like, at all. Like, the route below Blackthorn is a pretty useless route. It's also a really annoying one to actually navigate around and get everything because there's so many one-way drops you have to keep doing. Not a very fun route for that. And I don't even think there's anything in Dark Cave that's worth, like, looking for. There's also Mount Mordor, which you could get a Tyrogue in there, I guess. But otherwise, Mount Mordor is a complete waste of time. There's probably another one I'm forgetting. Technically, Sprout Tower. In the original game, Sprout Tower didn't really get you anything. I mean, it did, but you didn't need to do it. But you need to do it in the remakes. Sprout Tower is non-negotiable in the remakes. The Ruins of Elf is completely optional, and there's not a lot going on there. You get access to more of it when you can surf. And you even have to go through a Union Cave which is actually really cool. I think that's actually really cool. I can't think of any other places in Pokemon that have connected an area like that. Like, I know that Union Cave isn't necessarily the farthest landmark from the Ruins of Elf, but the fact that you have to, like, you go back to the Union Cave when you have Surf because you know there's water there and you want to explore it. And then as you're exploring, you get deeper in and suddenly you're at the Ruins of Elf. And it's like, what? And now there's grass here where there wasn't before, and there's now unique Pokemon that appear nowhere else in the game that you can catch there. You can find Smeargle, Girafarig, and Natu there, which, not really great Pokemon, mind you, but they are all there, and they're only accessible by exploring. So I give Johto a lot of shit, but like, it really does incentivize you to explore, huh? There's a lot of things like that in it. The Unknown themselves are their own little side quests, which are, take it or leave it, I guess, on that one. But in Gen 3... Man, that's weird. In Gen 3... Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. Technically Mount Pyre. I mean, Mount Pyre isn't optional, but the part of Mount Pyre you actually have to go up is completely separate from the rest of Mount Pyre. There's the Trick Room, or the Trick Master. His entire set of dungeons is optional. You don't have to do that. New Mauville isn't really a big place, but it does give you a Thunderbolt TM. It's optional there. The Scorched Slab, which isn't anything at all. Meteor Falls, which actually is pretty substantial in size, but the only thing you have to do in there is, well, oh, goodbye. All you have to do in there is take a few steps in the entrance. There's that whole area north of Rustboro that connects to it. Hello, Goo. I'm going to avoid Hustle. There's the route that is south of Mount Pyre that connects down to the south of the east of Mauville. Useless routes are useless routes, but there's usually stuff for them. It's just some of those routes. Flame Wheel, we have Flamethrower. Come on now. Some of those routes are really annoying, and that's another one of those routes where like you pretty much can access what you want out of it right away, because if you just head east from Mauville when you're heading to Fortree, you can get there, and that route is blocked off by a bunch of ledges, but you can access the Berry Master's house. And when you get to the actual main part of that route that you can get on from Mount Pyre, all that's really there is some trainers. Not like it's a bad thing, I guess, but that's really all there is just trainers. Why do you just keep clicking? Whirlwind, stop calling Goo! Let it rest! Wrong Goo. Well, half your team is called Goo, so like, come on now. Yeah, I suppose it's my fault, isn't it? Whatever, bro. Whatever. Losing the flying types. What else is new? Ow. Exploring shit that, like, the game doesn't necessarily tell you about is always the most fun you can have in any type of game, I think. Because you want to know what's in there. Maybe you discovered a secret boss. Maybe you discovered some legendary equipment. Maybe you discovered bonus plot. Who knows? But I do feel like when the game says, hey, you should go here, you know that you have to go there. But if you find somewhere along the way and you're like, what's this? And it seems like it's a pretty expansive thing. And then you just, like, now you're curious because nothing in the game told you about it necessarily. Or maybe there's hints to it throughout the game or something like that. But there's nothing that explicitly says if you don't go here, you cannot progress. Right? So that makes you want to explore it because now you're curious. You're curious not because the game told you that you need to go there. You're curious because it's somewhere that the game seems to not want to tell you about. So it has cool stuff in there. There's probably better examples of this than I can think of off the top of my head. Trying to think. I guess, would you count paralog chapters in Fire Emblem? I don't know if those really count, because in earlier Fire Emblem games, you could do paralog chapters, but paralog chapters only happened if you met prerequisites in previous chapters. So you could control them, but like they were bonus things that were just, they kind of just offered you a way to get more EXP, maybe some more items. I don't know how many paralogs have characters. I don't know a lot about paralogs. But paralogs are things that you don't have to access, right? You could do an entire playthrough and paralogs just won't happen. Unless paralogs are set in stone. My experience with Fire Emblem Awakening was that paralogs just opened up on the map after you beat certain chapters. But I know that in Fire Emblem at FE7, for example, like paralogs, there are paralogs you only get based on how you did. Like, isn't it in Roy's game? Isn't it in Roy's game where in order to get Roy's final, like, weapon? In order to get Roy's final weapon, you have to get, like, a paralog chapter before the final match. 7 had a side chapter inside a side chapter. What does that even mean? How do you have a paralog within a paralog? You mean you do a paralog, and if you do the paralog right, you unlock a paralog. Is that what you mean? Ow. Okay, I'm leaving the battle. No, exactly. That could be... There's like 3 or 4 different ways to interpret that sentence. Please try again. Please try again for my sake. What did he mean by this? You get 19xx by doing something on Lin mode. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Roy. They're not paralogs in the old games because you pass them, you can't do them anymore. Aren't they called paralogs? I thought they were called paralogs. The side deal about getting multiple paralogs to get all the legendary weapons to get the Sword of Seals. Find all the legendary weapons, the best ending, which were paralogs, had its own requirements. What? Para means you can do them anytime in the new games. So what are they called in the old games? They're called Gaiden chapters. What does Gaiden mean? What? The fuck does Gaiden mean? I mean, I've heard the word before, but I don't actually know what it means. Why is it called Ninja Gaiden? Gaiden means side. So you telling me Ninja Gaiden is called Side Ninja? That's its name? Side Ninja? Isn't that really fucking lame? Hassan kick! It hurts because I have no physical defense. Side Ninja. Side Ninja. Ninja Gaiden. In Shadow Dragon, they're triggered by having a low unit count, and they give you characters you only get there. Okay, that one I knew about. That one I knew about, and that really didn't make me want to play the game at all. But I did know that Shadow Dragon is a game that really, really expects the player to just bleed units. Like, bleed units like a runny nose. That is something I am quite aware of with that game. So the game has a constant way to replenish your units, but it only allows you to do so when you're actually bleeding units all over the place. So you get access to bonus chapters that give you new units, so you're not just doing Marth only. So like, is that game... How is that game, realistically? That was my first Fire Emblem. Wow. That is certainly something. Usually when people start with a game like that, they think, wow, this game series is fucked. And they don't play anymore. That's like if your first Mega Man game was like fucking Mega Man X5 or some shit. Or I guess X7 would be worse. If your first Mega Man game was X7, you'd be like, oh no. I don't know about this series, brother. That's dangerous, what you just did. Oh, cool. They had a couple mandatory side chapters, which is kind of weird to think about. How can a side chapter be mandatory? How is it not just a fucking main chapter at that point? Huh? Shadow Dragon looks ugly, though. I own Shadow Dragon. I bought it. I bought it because I thought, oh, okay, sure. And then I played it, and I was like, wow, this is really gross looking. I couldn't stand it, man. I played the fucking starting chapter, and when the battle screen came in, and I was like, I was looking at a fucking little shitty mannequin that was pretending to be Marth, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. I'm glad I didn't try any more than that, because, like, from what I heard after the fact, it seems like I would have given up on the game anyway. Cha. Mandatory side stories. Now, mandatory side stories for true ending is fine, because true ending and regular ending are often different things anyway. That I can get behind, but that is definitely a weird phrase. Mandatory side chapter. So, are there any, like, of those side chapters that are so bad that if you actually are playing the game again, you would actively try to avoid rolling into? Or for the most part, they're pretty simple and just they're just kind of a way to get additional EXP on things. A lot are hell. I guess you only get them if you're good, so. Well, I'm pretty sure I stopped playing FE7 in a side chapter because it was a cart. There was a cart stuck in the middle of the map, and there was fog of war, and Dorcas kept dying. And I was like, come on, Dorcas, stop dying. And then I stopped playing because he kept dying, and I kept restarting. So, don't you think side chapters should be things that they give you when, like, just you can opt out of it? Giving an additional chapter for playing well and then making the chapter a pain in the ass is more of a punishment than anything, right? Every FE6 Gaiden blows chunks. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the entirety of FE6... Wait, no, sorry, I was gonna say, isn't the entirety of FE6 a side chapter, but I got the games mixed up. I was thinking of FE5. FE5 is the weird side chapter game. FE6 is, what's this fuck? But you need the binding blade. You need the binding blade. If you don't get the binding blade, then Roy doesn't save the world. And then what are you gonna do? You gonna tell people you beat the game? Are you gonna leave out the fact that you didn't get the true ending? I'd leave it out personally, but that's just me. Yeah, man, I beat Roy's game. Oh, what'd you think of the side chapters? I thought they were kind of not great. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Not great. Sneaky. First Gaiden chapter in FE6 has a hero boss. What point in the game is that? Because a hero is a promoted unit. And you're not supposed to be fighting promoted units till, you know, at least until one of your units is capable of becoming one as well. Kutaka, I'm gonna hit you with a gust. Chapter 8. Well, that doesn't seem that bad. Although, you know, that's probably bad because at that point, you probably have like 3 units who can actually fight him. And even then, they can't like handle him like without taking some major risks themselves. But it's a good game. If you're getting doubled on normal mode regularly, then that game has pretty bad balance. Like, realistically, the only time any unit on your team should be getting doubled is if you're actually using the guy who has no speed and you're fighting a generic class that naturally has speed. You should not just be getting doubled randomly. That's absurd. Well, a solid TM I'm gonna have to climb back up here for. So that's great. But it's fine. I can't get out of here. I'm gonna have to climb halfway back up to fight that last and get that TM. They're on thrones. I'm aware of terrain bonuses, yeah. 30 evasion. Why the fuck does sitting on a throne give you 30 evasion? That doesn't. What, do you hide behind it during combat? The fuck? I understand the recovery. Well, I don't, but the recovery is something that I'm used to with fortresses and stuff like that. But what the fuck does 30 evade come from? Heart is bugged. Great. Great. That's kind of bad, actually. These Chernos are capable of fucking up my team right now. I need go in here. The thrones help the horse to dodge. Oh yeah, I guess if you're a fucking mounted unit on a throne, your horse can hide behind the chair too. Terrain is one of those things I always end up ignoring because I play on a difficulty where it barely matters. And then when it actually does matter in positions, Sidebeam is great. I still don't really utilize it. Like the fact that there's so many times in early Fire Emblem games where they're like, go stand in trees and you'll gain bonus evasion. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like I need that. Well, you know, sometimes I do in fact need that. I'm gonna hit you with a knock off. You missed. That's fine. FP5 thrones give 10 defense. 10 defense is more defense than some characters just have. Like, period. How do you... Can you use a rescue staff and pull them off of the throne and then sit your own ass on the throne? Well, this is great. Can I hack the game and make can I make a throne portable? Can I carry a throne with me? What if I make it so my character's terrain is always throne? FE5, more like I got nothing. It's the same game where healing can miss. Yeah, but that's funny. Palu! This puppet is dying. Thanks. I like how she says that and then she opens the door. Like, she's not saying anything to me, but you know what she's heavily implying. Ground floor, please. FE5 has invisible tiles that teleport your unit into a death trap which can only be escaped using warp and rescue. Invisible tiles that transport you to somewhere where they can no longer play the game, and you have to use a resource to pull them out. Now, I know there are some games where there's items that are hidden on desert maps. I never quite understood why, like, in terms of desert maps, mages were not affected by desert terrain. Like, pretty much everything in the game is affected by desert terrain, but mages can just walk across that shit like it's nothing. I assume it has to do with the idea that they wear very light clothing. But, like, mounted units can't move, and pretty much everybody else can't move. Flyers can move because flyers, well, they're flying. Duh. But mages are always just allowed to fucking walk through the sand. Thieves are unaffected too. But it's yeah, you know, I think it might have to do with the fact that they're wearing light clothing in a hot environment. They're not bogged down by wearing armor. They're not wearing armor or anything that, like, retains a lot of heat and just, like, fucking melts you. And I don't know about horses traveling the desert. Camels are pretty good at that. They can clear the sand from their path. Dude, it's a desert. How much fucking sand do you need to clear in a desert to clear a path? Like, are you parting the fucking desert like Moses? That makes no sense. That's dumb. Now I'm mad. Now I'm angry. Great, you've made me angry. Because now I thought of something stupid and it's your fault. Great. FE9 has a character hiding on a random tile. What? What do you mean hiding on a random tile? What does that even mean? You mean you just walk on a tile and a character climbs out of the fucking ground and goes, hey, you found me, can I join your team? Is it better or worse than Moisture Creature? Very important question. What's worse, this guy or Moisture Creature? Because Moisture Creature's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. We just step on it with one of two guys and he's like, whoa there, what's up? Let me join you. Well, but only with those guys? How does that even work? That sounds like the kind of shit that they would put in a game just to sell guidebooks. And to be fair, that is the era of buy Nintendo Power asshole. Like, there is definitely a lot of shit, for better or for worse, put into these games in a way that makes you feel like, oh man, if you had a guidebook, you know where the cool secrets are. Otherwise, he just gives you his sword. Excuse me? He just gives you a... If you... So... What? Huh? I'm so confused, bro. I'm so fucking confused. So, if you talk to this guy with one of two characters, he joins you. But if you talk to this guy with any other character, he just gives you his fucking weapon. It's an S-rank sword, so nobody can even fucking use it. And then he's just like, farewell, and leaves. What is this character? Both guys also have the worst desert movement. I'm telling you, man, this is a guidebook type of shit. Guidebook type of shit. Alright? You may learn about that character by another character, but learning that if you interact with a special character, you actually get the character, it's all bullshit. Oh, it's all bullshit. Someday I'll play a Fire Emblem game, chat. Someday. That was supposed to happen like a year ago. And you know what happened? Fantasy made him worse. And you know what happened again? Fantasy made him worse. Classic. Fantasy made him worse. Let's play this. Oh, new game comes out next month. Oh, puggies, puggies, puggies. Alright, well, you know, we've spent 5 months on this game. I don't want to play any tactical RPGs for a while. And then the time passes on tactical RPGs, and here I am thinking, man, I sure would like to play that Fantasy Maiden Wars again. Well, well, well. How did that happen? How did that happen? Well, to be fair, Fantasy Maiden Wars is certainly cooler than Fire Emblem, right? I don't see Marth activating Super Deluxe Mega Laser and doing 10,000 damage. You know, Marth's not doing that. But Reimu's doing that. Reimu's doing that. Yugi. We're looking at the week after next. We're looking at the week after next. I just gotta get it ready. Can we just replay Keifu? I don't I don't think anybody wants to, like, be a part of that, is the thing. Least of all me. I don't really want to be a part of that, and I would have to be the one actually playing it. Like, even watching it, there's like a sick level of curiosity that I would have watching it, sure. But like, I don't really want to be a part of that game again. Because that game wasn't very good. Sorry. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. That game kind of played its cards really early on. Like, I feel like it does not take very long to figure out what kind of game Keifu is. But there's just enough time to give it a benefit of the doubt until it reaches the sunk cost fallacy. And you're playing it. You're still playing it even though you're fully aware that it's hot garbage. I played on easy mode, bro. I played on fucking easy mode and that game was like a nightmare set. It was awful. I was playing it on normal mode and by like chapter 4 I was like, no. There's no way. There's no way the rest of this game is gonna let me get away with this. Like, normal mode is not happening. I'm out. I don't know what Keifu wants to be. I mean, I know what it wants to be, but I really don't know what Keifu wants to be. We're heading to the bug catching contest now, chat. It's time. Time to get ready. Oh. Boom. Now I can run from things because I'm a fully grown. I am a fully grown Bagooby. Bagooby. She's looking this way and smiling. Alright. Let's go catch some bug. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Remember, chat, it's 20 in-game minutes. Before I enter, I gotta pee. I'm gonna get a drink. So even in speed up, it's 20 real minutes. So we're gonna look around for 20 minutes, see if we get anything. I'd love to get a shiny Rooma, but okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna use the bathroom while I have time. Joey? What do you want, Joey? What do you want? It's called Wild Sumireko. Great. That's fantastic. I'm definitely the guy you needed to call to tell me that to. I would have rather hear about your Nazarene, you know, your really cool top percentage Nazarene. You know, it'd be really cool if the bug catching contest had different Pokemon per day that you could do it. Also, it'd be really cool if Yemma and Heracross were here, cause like they're bugs. All right. But no, Yemma's locked to some bullshit, and Heracross is locked to a tree. Same with Pineco. Who cares about Pineco? Yeah, true. Alright, so this goes on for 20 minutes. Is there actually stuff to catch? Yeah. And now that I am faster, I can run from everything, so I don't have to sit there and like stall on Leech Seed. Will Streamer fine? Best you can get is Pinsir. No, the best you can get is Scyther. Scyther's way better than Pinsir. Pinsir sucks. Pinsir can't even use bug moves until like Gen 4. Fucking Jesus, man. What was wrong with Pinsir? Normal fighting type, but he's a pure bug type. Scyther evolved. This is the menu. There's a lot of things in here. I wish I had more maps in my mind from Keifu, because there's only like 3 or 4 maps that I can realistically pull up as examples of why that game should not be played by another human being. My favorite one though is the map with 70 like enemies, and the game wants you to have less than like 4 left on the map when you finish it to recruit 3 units. I like that one because that one is just ridiculous. I have to assume the reason for that map is because like Shadow Dragon, if you lose a bunch of units, it tries to replenish you with good units. But like no. Gen 2 dev team decided to keep Scyther's BST the same after Evo. But it reallocated it, didn't it? His BST being the same is fine. If it got, you know, if it's reallocated to somewhere that matters for it. If he loses speed, which he does, and special attack, and he gains attack and defense, it's basically an upgrade. He's not meant to be fast as Scizor. He's the only case. Is he? I know Steelix doesn't. Steelix defense stat is fucking monumental. I guess they figured that Scyther was good enough as a Pokemon. It's funny nowadays, because now we have Pokemon like Archelodon and like King Gambit, who evolved from Pokemon who were like pretty considered to be done in their evolutionary lineups and had stats to reflect it. And then they're like, oh, actually, evolve, motherfucker, and get stronger. So file save, you can press the switches on the next chapter. That's the way you get a replacement for the next chapter if you recruit Parsi and kill her. What? I don't even know what you just said. I don't even know what you just said. Lily. I want to find another Lily. You can't get soft lock because, well, there's units that you have to bring, and if they die, you game over. What a game. What a game, man. What a game. I like how every now and again we talk about Keifu. But Keifu was like 6 years ago. That shit was so long ago. And I actually finished it. I think that's the most impressive part, is that I actually did finish the game. Granted, I started playing it nearly once every 2 fucking weeks. But like, I did eventually beat it. It might be one of the longest games it took for me to beat. Not by part density, but just by the fact that I didn't want to play it so many times. But I still did. I still did play it. That's right, I did it. I took the boots. They're here. Under the floorboards. Lisa was old too. Some of the stuff that I started playing, well, I played Lisa prior to playing it on stream though. I had already beaten that game and its DLC off stream, and I played it on stream. That was neat. Lisa is a very interesting game. I rather enjoy it. A lot of weird shit in there, for sure. Full of dark humor. What a sad, sad world. Press the A button in time. Listening to this OST just makes me want to play this game again. It's very fun. It's got a lot of little games. The art style is quite good. Too bad Focus Lens just like, they made Puppet Dance Performance and then they made the expansion and they were like, alright, that's all. Bye now. Like, that's it. That's pretty much it. They made some pretty cool games, but then they just stopped. I wonder why. I'd say it isn't profitable, but like it really wasn't that profitable for a lot of people. But there were some groups that just, you know, they just put shit out. They just did. There are some groups that are still around today, but that's because they are profitable. That's why they can continue to do it. They're so big that they can afford to like work on things. I actually wonder how Twilight Frontier is like handling the modern era. Because Twilight Frontier, back when Twilight Frontier made Immaterial Missing Power, like they were pretty much on the same they were kind of like the same level of circle as anybody else really. And some of their competitors, well, I say competitors, but one of like the other groups around that time that Twilight Frontier was approached for Immaterial Missing Power went on to make Melty Blood. So, and like Melty Blood's still relevant, I think. Maybe not like super relevant, but people still know what Melty Blood is, I think. But like Twilight Frontier has a catalog of numerous games actually. They made Dynamarissa, which is funny. They made Mega Mario, which is awful. They made Marissa World, New Super Marissa World, Marissa Land, not World. Marissa World was a different person entirely. Marissa Land, New Super Marissa Land, and Marissa Land Legacy. Those are all made by Twilight Frontier. Shoot Shoot Nitori and Shoot Shoot Nitori Gold were made by them as well. So they actually made a number of different fan games. They made not all of it was Toho either, but they're also responsible for the mainline, you know, spin-off fighters. They made 7.5, 10.5, 12.3, 13.5, 14.5, 15.5. Grief Syndrome. Is that Irisu Syndrome? Or is that something different? Because if you're telling me that Twilight Frontier made Irisu Syndrome, I wouldn't believe you. I would not believe you, but if that was actually the case, I'd be really fucking surprised. It's a Madoka multiplayer beat 'em up. Oh. Never mind then. It's Madoka. Who cares? I thought that was gonna be that you were telling me that they made Irisu Syndrome. I was like, what the fuck? That's random. You know the guy that made Rock Maiden made like a fighter with just like characters from Key games? I never played it, but the concept of that is very funny to me because I imagine a character like Rin throwing down with Fuka, and Fuka just throws like fucking starfish at people. Yeah, blow it out your ass. I forgot what I was talking about. Right, yeah, Satori's Mental Education is another one. But what like Twilight Frontier made all these games, and I was under the impression they were quite a group, like a decent sized group of people, right? I think most of us did. And then when 17.5 was in development hell for years, and like people were giving them so much shit for the game not coming out, and it turns out Twilight Frontier now consists of like one guy and his bud. Like there's like a main programmer, and then this like then they did some other guy who I think maybe does music. And now there's just two of them. That's it. And they were just these two guys basically had to make 17.5. And Zun already did his part. There were like whenever Zun like had interviews. Oh, look who it is. Look who it is, chat. She came back. Alright, throw an orb. Okay, alright. You know, she's the one I caught last time I did this too. Caught racing too. Well, I can't catch another. I have to wrap it up there. Like I gotta leave now. No point in looking for another one when I already secured one. We can move on. Still have 8 minutes left. Yeah. I don't know if I win this time, because I'm level 12. Placing third is Jope! Yeah, 289 points. Ed caught a Cheerno. The Picnicker Cindy who caught a Whoppin' Luna. A Whoppin' Luna. I got a Citrus Berry. Give a nickname? Oh, probably should have done that actually. Can't win with puppets that run down or low on HP. Are these puppets with beautiful colors? Makes it easier to win. I wonder if that's true. Listen, I caught a larva before, but I didn't win. Really love fairy puppets. Did I already say that? I study a lot, but that's not enough to win. Alright. That chick's lying. Her dialogue is straight. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. I forgot what I was talking about before I got interrupted by Abuni. Wrong way. Twilight Frontier, right. Yeah, so every time Zun had any form of Q&A, he'd always get questions like, what's going on with the state of the game? And his answer would pretty much always be the same. Like, I've already done my part with the game, so, like, its delay has nothing to do with me. So, there really wasn't anything he could say. But he probably got asked that a lot. But yeah, Twilight Frontier is effectively just two people trying to make this work. And after, like, nearly 2-3 years or so of delay, the game came out. And, it's not that great. To be honest, it's not that great. It's fine. It's fine, but, like, it really feels like the game was designed around, like, Reimu and maybe Marissa. And then the other gimmicks are just, like, not designed around that. So they just kind of, like, get in there somehow. Marasa versus Yuma is a pretty clear example of why. Actually. Wow. Bunny, 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 bunny. Quick to flee, adamant. She has a blazer. Run away. Wow, is she good or what? But look, we have the real form. We can compare them. Wait, she's also holding a blazer. Cool. Oh, look. Her shoes are also black. That's about it. Give me your item. Take your coat off. And give it to me. Alright, Nitori. You're taking over for Lily for a little bit, because we need to start surfing. Kaneko is just like... She's a belligerent character. She has so many big hitboxes and shit. She's very belligerent. Blazers for heart type moves. It's not bad, actually. Jud and Shion are interesting, because they work fine. But, like... I actually didn't like playing as Flan. I thought playing as Flan was pretty annoying. Like, I'm pretty sure Flan was capable of doing the most damage. But, like, I just found she was really awkward. Like, it really felt like everything in the game was designed around Reimu and Marissa, and then everything else, whether it worked or not, was just fucking who cared? Who cares, man? Who fucking cares? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't care. But, no, Marassa was really cool conceptually, but then... as soon as you fight Utso, oh my god. That's when you realize that you probably should not have been fighting Utso. Because Marassa dashes by shooting her anchor and, like, hook-shotting with it. So if you fucking dash into a wall with Marassa, you just get hit. And then trying to dodge Yuma's final attack with Marassa does not work. That shit just does not work. I was on that fight forever. Simone. I have that puppet too. I do feel kind of bad about it because, like I said, it really wasn't that great of a game. And after its massive delay and it comes out with, like, a resounding... Oh, okay. It makes me wonder if Twilight Frontier will ever actually, like, make anything again. Because, like, the amount of people they have has been reduced, clearly. And the scope of making games is now increased. In the sense that, like, they can't just make something that goes back from what they've made. They have to advance, right? They gotta outdo themselves, but now they have less people to do that. When the art on Internet Survivors. Well, the artist also did the art in 19, right? For the boss portraits. Pretty sure they also are doing the, not portraits, sorry, the boss sprites. Pretty sure they're also doing the boss sprites in the remake. By the way, that comes out in August. That's real, by the way. There's a Vampire Survivors game coming out based on Internet Survivor. I do not care about the Vampire Survivor genre, but I will play that to check it out. I don't remember when that's coming out though. It's sometime in August. It looks stupid, and I am very aware of the power of garlic. You know, I'm very fucking aware of it. Will I get addicted? I don't think so. I don't think so, but I will play it, and I'll probably play it for a couple times. It says August. No, the trailer gave a date. The actual trailer for the game gave a date. I think it said either August 6th or August 26th or something like that. Because the oh god, the remake for EOSD comes out early September. I'm going into Pargu. August 16th, yeah, so we'll be playing that, don't you worry. Wow. EOSD remakes 9-9. That works. It's close. It is exciting. It is exciting, but I'm not like losing my mind or anything, because to me it'll be cool to see for sure, but to me it's not something I'm gonna be playing like a whole bunch. I'm not gonna be playing it a whole bunch. I'm more excited for what possibilities it opens up in the future for remakes for 7 and 8 as well, because having an HD collection for the original Windows trilogy would be huge. That would also, again, that would also mean that those games are finally available. Like, those games are finally available. Because 6, 7, and 8 were not available on online stores and digital versions. 9 is, though. I don't really understand how 9 is, but 9 is. Pretty much every Touhou game was available on Steam that isn't PC98, of course, except 6, 7, and 8. And 6 will be rectified next month. I'm not buying a copy of a 25-year-old game to play. Sorry. I'm not doing that. And the people who are saying that you have to do that to be a real fan aren't doing that either. I ain't doing that. Man, oh man, oh man. I want Guya out front, but she's so fucking slow and she's gonna battle. Alright. You're young and fit. Don't ride puppets. Swim. Okay. You want me to swim across the ocean? Are you sure about that? Are you flying type? I don't know. I am curious. I am curious how much replayability the Vampire Survivors game is gonna have, because the original Vampire Survivors has a ton of different characters and unlocks and shit, and like I understand why the gameplay loop works. I do get why it works. I am curious how substantial this game is gonna be. It might be substantial. It might have enough stuff to keep you entertained for a while. I will play it, and I'll figure out where I want to go from where I go from that. So we'll see. We shall see. I'm mostly just surprised it's real. I'm surprised it's real. Because I was under the impression that that was not actually going to be a game. And also, the Internet Survivor PV is like 3 years old now, isn't it? Like, that song is not new. That song's pretty old now. The name for it is just perfect for the genre, though. I can't even fucking deny that. But the purpose of the name was the fact that the idea that, like, despite Touhou being around for so long, it still remains culturally relevant to a certain extent. More so in Japan, of course. Hence the idea of an internet survivor. Their internet presence of Touhou is still quite strong. Memes and all. So nanoka. Mud slap. I like the design they have. I actually think that the outfit that Flan wears in that PV looks really dumb. I don't got any problem with the animator, because, you know, they've done a number of things. Their animation style is good. But her outfit looks really dumb. I didn't really look too hard at the game graphics, mainly because the trailer was a lot of flashy, like, whoa, check this shit out, bro. So we'll see. I prefer my goo all natural. I don't even know what you would call her outfit design. It looks very silly, though. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not even sure what the enemies look like. I imagine it's a bunch of internet memes and Euclid, because why would it not be Euclid? The better question is, how much money does it cost? Is that game gonna cost me $20? Because that's a lot of money. It is all memes. No, I knew that part, because that's the whole point of the video, of the song. That's the whole thing. That's the whole song. What do you think Red Death will be? When you get 30 minutes in and the game's like, alright, you had enough fun, and then it summons Red Death to kill you. You think it's just gonna be Zun? You think Zun just shows up at your house and kills you? IRL. He shows up IRL and kills you. That's enough playtime, buddy. Yes, boss. You know, the water routes connecting like this could be interesting. Oh my god, this guy's got 6 assholes. Great. Great, I gotta click Magical Leaf 6 times. Why? Why? Well. Okay, not strong enough. Ow. God, Guya is so fucking weak. Can she do anything? Marasa. I'm gonna die to that one, so I'm switching. I'm leaving. Ghosty Goo. What if... Okay, Red Death... The Red Death equivalent of the game has to be one of 2 things. It either A, has to be Zun, or B, it has to be just the actual Flandre. Like, the whole game aesthetic just disappears, and the real Flandre just shows up, and it's like, what the fuck? You gotta defeat yourself. That'd be kinda cool, actually. But I like the idea of Zun just showing up and, like, throwing hands. And you have to defeat him. If you defeat him, then you become free. You know, a free creation. You've outgrown him. Good. Wow. What a mesmerizing gif. Wee. Wagasaki. Just gonna leaf blade it. We'll see. August is soon, chat. August is basically tomorrow. Not tomorrow, streamer. It's not tomorrow, it's the day after tomorrow. Yeah, but today is pretty much over, so what is tomorrow if not tomorrow's tomorrow? That's genius. That's so fucking smart. Oh my god. What are we doing for August? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing for August, chat, but we do need to start doing, like, I need to start doing my own things. The art in the last, like, little while has been great for, like, slowly ramping up, though. Like, the Yomu in particular yesterday was a lot of additional aspects with shading and, some toning, some subsurface scattering. So for today, for the next one, we need to focus on, well, the next part to add would be to add some ambient occlusion. So basically, shadow within the shadow, and highlights. But we already did highlights, but more like bounce light, reflective light. light that it basically shines on the side of things, but it reflects the color reflects the color of different surfaces. I don't really know how to do that, to be honest with you. It's confusing, but that's why we're doing one thing at a time. After that, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing after that. I haven't really thought that far ahead. Oh, Georgie. I'm going back to heal. I'm going back to heal. That scared me. I was like, what is that? It's Gengetsu. Route 40 and Route 41. They got Lyricas in the water, and I can't get away from them. Alright. Just going back to heal. Guya still has 5 speed. Yeah, I'm not sure where to go from that, but like, that's why pretty much everything that I've been doing has been like slowly increasing the amount of stuff to do. It's kind of surprising when you break it down, because when you look at a lot of like finished works in a vacuum, it looks like there's so much shit going on. But in reality, the amount of actual things that are done is not that much. I mean, it is a bit much, but it's not as complicated as you'd think. A lot of it just comes from the technique of the refining to make it look better, and it makes you think, wow, I bet they just took a brush and went splotch and it was perfect right out the gate. That's not really how it works. So a lot of the times when you're doing studies, you're looking at finalized artworks that people have possibly rendered for longer than the amount of time it took to draw the damn thing in general. So because of that, trying to fit. Also, you have to look at post-processing techniques. Like, there's gonna be a lot of post-processing that you see in final images, and you're like trying to figure out. You're basically trying to figure out how to copy a post-processing effect without using post-processing yourself, and that doesn't really work. So you can't really do that. Post-processing is confusing because a lot of it is just you basically turn knobs. You turn knobs and apply effects, and they just do shit for you. They just do shit for you, and you're like, that looks cool. And you just roll with it. And that is, surprisingly, a lot of what art kind of ends up being. There's a lot of times where I see something, and I'm like, wow, that looks intentional. It's not. Or like, wow, that looks deliberate. I wonder why he thought to do that. And the reality of it is that they threw down a color, and then they hue changed it, and they were like, oh, that's cool. And then they left it. And that's the majority of what art is. It's just, that looks neat. I'll go with that. Sure, why not? And then me, the student, goes, there must be a very complicated and smart reason for why they did this. No. Not really. Not really. The reason is because it looked cool, maybe. Rule of cool is surprisingly important. Cool trumps accuracy. Even if something does not accurate, if it looks cool, it's better than if it was accurate. I guess that depends on if you're trying to do realism, of course, but that's why certain things are done the way they are, even if it doesn't actually make any sense realistically. Like having certain places for highlights or for light to shine through, but like the light source realistically wouldn't touch that, but you have it there because it acts as a focal point and it's cool, and because it's cool, you want to do it. And it's just that simple. Rule of cool, baby. Rule of cool. It's interesting when you kind of watch somebody, like, do a speed paint or they do something and you watch their process and you hear them kind of think aloud what they're doing. I do find that pretty fascinating because there's a lot of shit that goes through artists' heads when they're, like, making things. Oh, Renko in the water. It's interesting. And there's a lot of things they keep in mind. Rules, quote-unquote, that they follow. And there's just... It's surprising how much of, like, the workload that comes from doing art is just remembering so much shit when applying other shit. But it's all done in your head, so when they just do it... Oh, a whole-ass fish. When they just do it, you're like, wow, this guy's a fucking super genius. But he's actually thinking really hard. Me, I'm thinking about ice cream. Let's get some ice cream, boys. Substitute? You would sub, wouldn't ya? What's your plan now? You gonna kill me? Better kill me in one hit, bitch. Better kill me in one hit. Constrict. That looks like seaweed. Well, whatever. Choppa. Stoppa. Ooh, I got juiced on that one. Excelente. Alright, we're just scoping out some trainers, because you're bound to miss some here anyway. Because this fucking route is too damn big. How am I supposed to remember who is who? Swimming that close to a whirlpool? Brave. The bright side is, chat, that the more I, like, do these things by just breaking them down one at a time, the more I can kind of read images. There are some types of images that I still see that I really don't know how they're doing. Like for this Futo, for example, it's sprite art, but you can see there's a layer of shading. There's one layer of shading. There's a gray and a dark blue applied to the hair, the clothes, and the blue. The hat is neat because the hat is actually like, it's mostly in shade, but there's like a rim light going on there, but it's actually the base color, same as the shoe, but it reads like a rim light, and it gives a sense of depth to the pixel art. That's cool. Understanding is cool. But there's a difference between understanding and applying. And I think that is one of the parts of learning things that is the most annoying. Is that if you feel like you understand what's going on, but then you can't actually do it yourself. The more you understand, the more you realize what you're doing is wrong, but then you're not quite sure how you're supposed to do it right. But you know it's wrong. I mean, obviously it's wrong. You can usually tell when it's wrong. But when your knowledge of the subject is better, but then your actual practical ability to do it is not, you're only training one, not the other, and it gets kind of messy. Some things you can just learn by studying a book, though. That much is definitely true. You can just be book smart on things. Think like fighting games. Fighting games is such an easy example for me to pull, I know. But there are people that learn frame data. There are people that learn frame advantage. And they know a lot. They know a lot about, like, the technical side of the game. Where they understand if they do certain options in certain places, what their frame advantage is, and if they have options that actually work for that, or beat out punish options. That's what a frame trap is, I think. But then there are also the people who just play the game and they don't know like any of their frame data, and they're just pretty sure that if they throw a punch here, it works. They don't know the nitty-gritty of it. They just understand that if they do something and then they try something else afterwards, it usually works because it works. There's different ways to play, but some people they might know a ton of frame data, but then their actual ability to play the game is not very good. Either because they just don't play it as much, or they're just, I don't know, there's something about it that's just missing. There's an aspect to it that is lacking in there. Oh! Never on minus if you aren't a coward. No, you're never on minus if you're a masher. This is a big difference. Big difference. Kutaka. Not a fish. Not a fish. Bird. Wait, you're faith type, so this isn't even gonna work. They say those who can't teach, right? There's a comma in that sentence. Figure out where it is. That's your homework for today. Confuse Ray. Honestly, no. We don't need that. There are some people who, like, they know a lot, but be it from just... There's multiple reasons why they wouldn't be able to really participate themselves, but they do know a lot. Maybe they're just retired or something, so they can't actually teach people. There are also people who are really good at playing the game who can't teach for shit. That's actually a common thing with Reimu's character, is that Reimu's very bad at explaining things. Even though she's like really, you know, she's the kind of character that when you look at what they're capable of, you're like, wow, she's pretty good. But if you tried to like get her to show you how to do something, she would absolutely fail. Because it's just something that she understands on an intuitive level. And that is annoying. Let me tell you, chat. There is nothing more annoying than when you're trying to learn something and the most common result you get is it's something that comes to you intuitively after you do it enough times. That is such a frustrating result because you can't argue it. You can't argue it, and but you also can't really like do it. It doesn't make sense. Like, how do you color? You can look up a million fucking things. How do you color? Okay, well, videos are gonna teach you color theory. You're gonna learn what warm colors are. You're gonna learn what cool colors are. You're gonna learn what colors, like color grouping is, where colors go together, the rule of threes for color. Like, you can learn a bunch of theory for color, hence why it's called color theory. But then it's like, so how do you apply them? Well, you just fucking do it, and you do it enough times, and eventually you start to develop, an intuitive ability to pick colors and understand colors. And it's like, I hate you. I hate that explanation, because I don't understand how to do colors. But unfortunately, the only way to understand it is to just do. But then you don't know how to do it, and if you're like me and you're afraid to like fucking do anything, if you don't know how to do it, then you don't do anything. Nothing happens. You sit there with your thumb up your ass and make no progress. Because you assume as soon as you try it once, and it obviously doesn't work, because it's the first time you're trying it, you have failed, and you will never be able to do it properly ever. Sorry. Well, that's a shame, isn't it? To succeed, you must fail. And then fail, and then fail, and then fail again. And then fail one more time for good measure. Just because I don't like you. Fuck you. Me when I lose. But it is annoyingly true. There just comes a point where you pick a color enough times and you start to get a kind of an intuitive sense on where in the color wheel you want to be to make a certain color when you see certain colors. Also, color relativity is awful. I fucking hate color relativity. Okay? It pisses me off because I don't get it. I don't get it, especially with the color white. Oh, the color white gets on my nerves. Because the color white, the way you perceive the color white is so heavily influenced by surrounding colors that if you're doing a character with like white hair or white clothes, like you don't even know what I don't even know what to do. I don't even know what to do. Skin color too. Your skin color is pretty heavily influenced by the colors that are surrounding it as well. Sometimes your skin reads a lot more like lively. Sometimes it reads paler based on like the coloration. You have blues, your colors are paler. You have warmer colors, your skin is a lot more lively. Too lively and you're tan. That happened with Wriggle. Wriggle was tan. She ended up becoming tan by accident. But you almost seem to have a lively skin color. But like it's weird because flats are just weird like that. I learned that when you apply flats, like I'm doing one on my own right now, and like I applied the flats by color picking, and they were very dark. They were really dark, and I was like, that's confusing. And obviously, because I'm color picking right off the reference, the colors aren't wrong. They can't be wrong. I just color picked them off the reference. But they're very dark. However, when I changed the background to match the what the actual image background is, the image is basically black and gray. There's a lot more darkness in the overall color presentation with gray and black and a very little bit of white. And when you applied that background to it, all of those overly dark flats that I had applied at the first part with a white page stopped looking too dark, because in contrast to the rest of the image, their colors were actually the brightest. They became the brightest on the page because the background was darker. So it made them appear brighter to me, even though they are naturally pretty dark themselves. And it's really weird. I don't really understand that. I read that tigers are bright orange because of something we have as humans in our eyes, where we see them as bright orange, but like prey animals see them as the same color of like the jungle. So they're like very camouflaged. To prey animals, they're very camouflaged, but to us, they're like bright fucking orange, so they're not very good at like blending in with a green jungle. I don't understand how any of that works. I know that dogs see colors differently. Dogs see colors differently from us. There's color blindness, which I don't fully understand because I'm not colorblind. There are colors that are imperceivable to the human eye. The color pink is not real. Cool. Red foxes are orange because of the same thing. Cool. How many colors do you think a housefly can see? With their big old fucking radar looking eyes. We can see red and green and blue wavelengths, but those prey animals don't have one of them. And thus they just can't see the color that tigers are. How the fuck did tigers develop to have a color that prey animals can't see? How did we develop to have a color that they can see? Why don't they just have a color that's not that anyway? I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying. Lag! I got it. This ought to do the trick. The tad too strong. I only offer it in emergency. It's a secret medicine that'll help us for later. Cool. We're coming close on the levels here. Tiger first shifted to orange color, which happened to be a color that prey animals couldn't see, so the ones that were more orange caught more prey, thus had more children. Thus more tigers became more and more orange. That makes sense. So that's just the rule of evolution, is the survival of the fittest. The ones that change and have the most success are the ones that continue the lineage. How come we don't have tails anymore? When did our appendix and our spleen and our tonsils become unneeded to live? When did that happen? Humans. Humans evolved the ability to distinguish red from green to find red fruit. That makes sense, because pretty much all fruit is, when it's green, it's not ripe. What fruit is green and ripe? I guess a pear would be, right? But even then, pears are kind of yellowy, but like I think of like a tomato that's still growing. Tomatoes are like, they're like a very green, right? It's very, it shows you that's not good. Oranges. Aren't oranges green? Bye. Yo, Jupe, wasn't that Chamada? I only caught a quick glimpse, but I thought I saw Chamada running on the waves. She's so cool. I know. She's awesome. You should be a faith type. That'll only hurt a little bit. See? I'm a Chansey. Evolution is cool. It is interesting to think that there were points in history where things were just the way they were. but the ones that didn't succeed just kind of disappeared. But then how do they know that different kinds had different colors? How do we know this information? I know that you can study bones. Bones tell stories. But also, I don't think you can necessarily reconstruct an animal back to the way it looked with muscle tissue through just its skeleton. I mean, wasn't that a whole fiasco with, like, the fucking fossils? There were so many people rearranging fossils to make creatures based on what they thought, and some of these motherfuckers were making some just absolute freaks. You're a reason type, which means laser beam works. They made Dragovish. I know, I watched a Vinny segment on that. It's very entertaining. Just a lot of, there was a lot of motherfuckers who they just made shit up. Butterflies, they became darker to hide in more polluted environments. Oh. So, animals that go extinct. I'm assuming most of the time animals that go extinct, they go extinct because they don't develop the necessary evolutionary traits to continue surviving. But there are some animals that went extinct due to overhunting, right? That's nice. Like the dodo bird, right? Don't they, like, they call it the dodo bird because it's an idiot. But that's not very nice. That's not very nice at all. Why would they do that? Stupid ass fucking bird. Hey, man, lay off. He went extinct. You guys know about the big bear sloths that existed? They were like bears and sloths together. Those motherfuckers are creepy looking. Well, based on their reconstructions, of course. And also the original ape. I forget what his name is. You guys see the original ape? I think it started with an R. I don't remember. You see many different kinds and there's no reason to go. Look forward. Finish the construction already. You can't get any encounters at the gate. Okay. Alright. Let's head into the gym. Invasive species. The animals that have never had to deal with adapted species that wreak havoc on the ecosystem. And evolution's just too slow to catch up most of the time. Yeah, that makes sense. Mongoose. Mongoose. Young Goose and Rattata and Gen 7 are kind of based on that. Where they had an epidemic and they introduced an invasive species to take care of the invasive species. The result was not good. If there's anything I learned in human history is that when you want to deal with an invasive species, you don't pay people to hunt them, because if you do that, then they just start creating them to make money. I've heard about the rattlesnake problem that happened, where they put bounties on rattlesnakes or cobras or whatever, because they were getting too populated, and it was bad. And you go, Gooby. But so what happened is that, you know, they were paying people to hunt them, but what people did was instead of hunting them, they just started breeding them. And they made a fuck ton of more snakes because they could make money off of that. And then when it got found out, well, the whole plug got pulled on it. And what did they do with all the new snakes? They released them into the wild. And now the problem got worse. There was something kind of similar to that with rabbits. but not because of hunting. But it was what was it? There was a chapter of it in Wildhorn Hermit. But apparently there was a point in history where rabbits became, they were a very popular pet, and they were kind of like rabbits were kind of like a status symbol, where if you had a rabbit, it was, you know, having rabbits was a sign that you were fancy, I guess. And then someone decided that you now had to pay a tax to have rabbits as pets. Like, there were so many of them, and then somebody implemented a tax. So if you had rabbits, you had to pay a tax per rabbit. And suddenly, rabbits weren't so popular anymore. Holy shit. So what happened to the rabbits? Well, they were either killed, or they were just released into the wild. And like I said, there was a chapter on that in Wildhorn Hermit, where like the idea of it was that the yokai rabbits of the forest are the rabbits that were released, because these are domesticated animals, right? They lived in domesticated households, and then they were just thrown out. If they weren't just killed for food, they were just thrown out and told, go fuck yourself, and then they had to fend for themselves. And the rabbits that survived that ordeal made up the yokai rabbits. Because Tay was introducing rabbits to the human village as pets, and part of the reason for that was, like she said, she brought up that story to Casson. I thought that was very neat, because that is, unfortunately to say, that's a very human thing. That's a very human thing. Like, wow, we sure love these animals. Alright, now that you have these animals, you have to pay for them. Well, suddenly I don't want this animal anymore. But like I said, rabbits were less of like a pet and more like a status symbol. So now the status symbol came with a fucking price tag on it. Don't want that anymore. Get rid of that. It's pretty inhumane to just toss it like that. But what else could you do, I guess? But that was, that's something. It turns out it's man. Man is bad. More at 11. 11 what? 11. Man. These guys' levels are actually, like, right on mine. It's pretty bad. We are almost up there, though. Okay. I thought Japan was currently dealing with bears. Because their Japan laws on, like, guns and hunting is so restrictive. And the amount of actual, like, hunters in the country is diminishing. So now the population of aggressive animals is getting higher because there's less actual people dealing with it. They wanted raccoons because they thought they were tanuki. Great. Smart. No, but I'm serious about that bear thing. Like, just the restrictions and laws towards actually becoming a hunter. I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to become a hunter in Japan unless you're, like, a native there. I don't think you're allowed to become a hunter unless you were born in Japan. So they can't even, like, import people to do it. You imagine Japan sending you a letter, be like, hey, you want to come shoot bears for money? You think any fucking American would turn that down? Hell yeah, brother, sign me up. They're paying me to go to Japan and shoot bears. That's awesome. But you're not allowed. Oh, humans. Oh, humans. Those silly, silly humans. Playing God at any moment they get. Destroying the world one plastic bag at a time. Really glad I'm getting some EXP on Lily in this gym full of types that she resists her, but I'm still managing to kill with it. Hmm. Iguanas. I'd never imagined iguanas as a invasive species. Hmm. Bears are up from hibernation too early from climate change and get hungry. They proceed to the nearest populated area. Ah. But then there's nobody to actually hunt the bears. There's nobody to keep the population under control or to tell the bears, hey, go away. You do not belong here. Ha ha ha. Guard. I'm going to encore that. Encore is a good move. Excellent. How do we, what happens if we kill mosquitoes? Anybody know the answer? If we just wiped mosquitoes completely off of the face of planet Earth, what would happen? What about wasps? Do wasps do anything, or are they just annoying? Is there anything that we can remove from this planet that would be inconsequential to its survival? Don't say humans, because that's a fucking lame answer. Mosquitoes are food for a lot of different creatures. They'd all die. Who the fuck eats mosquitoes? Frogs? Spiders. Oh, that's true. Hmm. I thought they ate flies, though. Hakure. My heart types aren't gonna be cutting it in here. Whatever. Okay, what about hornets? Do hornets do anything, or are they just assholes? Ow. Ow. Stop kicking me! Does anybody eat hornets, or can we get rid of them? Oh no. Hornets are protected. By what? What are they protected by? We can't get rid of them. We have tried. Who, you? You've tried, personally? Who the fuck would protect a goddamn hornet? Kotohime. Yeah, I killed 2. That's the spirit. How many left you got before the total population destruction? You better get back to work, man. You don't got time to be here. Oh boy, here we go. Yep. They keep the calm bug population in check. Oh man, could you imagine? Hornets disappear and suddenly we're overthrown by ladybugs. The fucking ladybugs get us. That wasn't on my bingo card. Total ladybug desecration. You know what would happen? Ladybugs release a liquid that makes them taste awful. So when they die, they basically tell the thing that ate them, hey, don't eat us because we taste bad. But if their population kind of exploded and more things started eating them anyway, they would either develop a taste or a numbness to that liquid, right? because that's how nature works. Nature evolves. Obviously, if you change one thing, you fuck with so much else, but there's nothing to say that what you fuck with won't just fix itself, because that implies that what is happening right now is the status quo, and if anything ever broke it, the entire world would fall into disarray. Alright, you gotta stop hitting yourself. Stink bugs are bastards. They seem to be really good at getting indoors, or there's like a billion of them in my garden. I don't think stink bugs exist in Canada. I don't know what a stink bug looks like. I bet they stink though. It is probably fair to say that even if you did cause some kind of like change in the world, like the world around us would change to compensate for it. I really like hitting myself in confusion. It's a very fucking fun mechanic we're playing through here. There you go. You're alive. This has got to stop. Have you ever seen a skunk before? I've never seen one IRL. I mean, I've heard they stink. I've heard they stink, but like, I don't know, man. I can't imagine what a skunk smells like. I imagine it's the kind of smell that would make you vom. Like, really bad. This puppet is so obnoxious. The evolutionary advantage of being stinky. Can you eat skunk? Can you eat skunk? Should you? I don't know if you should, but like, you can eat anything. That's the spirit. I got an idea. Let's eat sand, boys. Let's eat sand. Sand is good. Yummy. Alright. Whew. Alright, chat. Well, we're gonna stop there for now, because it's been 2 hours. And next is a gym leader, but based on the levels of the gym trainers, I'm gonna get my shit rocked. So next time we're gonna do some more levels. We're gonna get Lunasa and Parsi to the appropriate levels for evolution. We'll figure out which one we want them to become, and we'll get everybody up to around 28 to 30, I guess. And then we'll take on Chuck. We'll get access to the Safari Zone, and then we can see what's going on there. But we made good progress today, and we even found a shiny today, which is... I kind of forgot that we found a shiny today, because that shit just kind of happened, and I was like, oh, cool. I caught it, and then I went next. She came back. Alright. We'll see you then.